Hello everyone, this is PK. I'm the founder and the lead developer of Tradesviz.com. Tradesviz is an online trading journal and a trade analytics platform for traders of all experience levels. In this presentation, we're going to look at how Tradesviz can help options traders improve their craft. So we're going to be looking at multiple topics here. The first one is how can options journaling be done? And next we'll be looking at how options data can be used for trade journaling and how we can analyze it. And the second portion of the presentation will be focused on how we can use options flow data to gain more insights on what you can do to manage your positions and how you can find better trades. And all of this is within Tradesviz. And finally, we'll discuss on what are the pitfalls and what are the advantages and disadvantages of using options flow and alternative data for your analysis in Tradesviz. So first, for most options traders, journaling is something that a lot of people don't do because it's not exactly straightforward, right? So you have a lot of attributes to a single execution. You have whether it's a put or a call, what sort of underlying is it? Is it futures option, index option, stock option, strike, expiry? How do you put together all of this data? It's very confusing and it's time consuming for a lot of people, right? Whereas if you take options or even whereas if you take stocks or even futures, it's pretty much straightforward. Journaling is very easy. That's one of the reasons why a lot of options traders have a lot of difficulty with journaling. Right, so this is the reason why this is a lesser discussed subject for options traders, right? And the truth is that there isn't any good platform out there that can handle complicated option strategies and still be a useful tool for options traders without getting in their way, right? And there's also arguments saying that options journaling is not that useful, it's very complex and all of that, but we'll get into how we can solve that, right? The solution to all of this is a well designed and thought of program or a platform that can leverage multiple parts of the options data that you import into the platform, right? And the way to do this is to think about how the data can be useful to the trader. An options trade, a single options trade, has a lot of data attached to it, unlike a stock trade wherein you only have the underlying, the quantity, and the price, right? Whereas we have multiple option strategy. You have condors, you have butterflies, you have strangles, you have verticals. You have so many different strategies and so many different ways to group these trades and to get insights from them, right? And that's the difficult part that nobody seems to have found a proper solution for. Now the next question is, okay, there is a lot of data that to be worked with, but what data can be useful? Right? A single trade that you generate on a trading platform generates all of the following attributes or properties, right? So you have the price, you have the execution time, you have quantity, you have the symbol, you have expiry, strike, and you have the options, Greeks, right? So all of these data points are generated when you execute a single trade, right? And of course, you kind of derive the Greeks based off of the price, execution time, and so on, and vice versa also, right? And there's also DTE, right? So options trading, number one, is itself difficult, and number two, deriving the insights from all of this, all of these data points is way over the experience level of most options traders who just trade weeklies, right? But if you want to improve over that, if you want to get to the next level, you need to understand these data points and you need to understand how you can use the data points, right? And most trading journals look at price, execution time, quantity, symbol, and so on, but they completely ignore the options attributes. There isn't a single journal to our knowledge at the moment which handles options, Greeks options attributes such as strikes, date to expiry, and so on, and provide insights based on them, right? So our answer to the question is every single piece of data is important. It's up to the user, it's up to the trader on how to get insights or how to torture the data to get valuable insights from it. And it can be very hard if you have hundreds of options trades. That's why we have that's why we have dedicated features for options traders in Tradesviz. So how do you use the options data? Right? Always more data is better. Right? That there might be, you know, opposing arguments saying that, you know, more data can lead to, you know, over complication or difficulty in making decisions and so on. But that's not really the case when the odds are stacked against you. Right? Trading, you know, in the current age is not easy. Being a retail trader is not easy, even though we have so many tools available to us, even though we have tools that traders 10-15 years ago wouldn't even have imagined that this would be available for an ordinary retail trader, right? So even if we have all of this technology on our side, it still helps to look at the data and then find the useful parts of it so that we can improve our craft, right? And the main goal here is most options traders usually have strategy to execute, right? And a lot of trading strategies can be optimized and can be made more efficient. And how do you do that? You do that by looking at past results. And how do you look at past results? You need to have data, right? So it's a kind of a circle. So if you don't have data to work with, if you don't analyze your data, there's no way that you can improve your strategy, and there's no way you can improve your trading. Trading is not just about psychology, money management, position management, and all of that. That's very important, but the other 50% is also important, which is how you trade, how you use the data that you have, how you leverage the data that you've already, you know, generated by hundreds of trades and so on, right? And we need a platform that helps you do this for all cases. Right? At the moment, there isn't any except for Tradesviz. Right? So that's why Tradesviz is right now the best option for any options trader in terms of management of options trades, in terms of management of option strategies, finding option strategies, finding options trades, and also analyzing options trades. All of this can be done within Tradesviz, and we'll get to that part soon. So to give you an example of how we do analysis on Tradesviz, we're going to look at a sample account here. So this account has already been loaded with the sample data that comes with Tradesviz. So everybody can have a look at this. If you have a Tradesviz account, just click on the add sample trades if you don't have any data in the account, and you'll be able to see all the trades in the trades table. Right? So this has a combination of options trades, stock option trades, index option trades, and so on and so forth. Right? So we have this section called options trades analytics. Right? And what we do is we take each Greek, right? Delta, theta, gamma, rho, vega, IV, DTE, and we make sure that you have some sort of an understanding of what's going on with respect to your P&L. Right, we are correlating the basics of the options Greeks to your P&L, right? And just by looking at this chart, you can kind of say, and before we get into the details of this, all of these analysis that you see here are based on your entry points, right? They are not based on the exits, they are based on your entries, right? Analysis is always based on entry, so only if you learn when to enter, right? Only if you learn how you should optimize your entry, you can think about how you can optimize your exit, right? So that's why we focus on the entry legs or the entry executions of any options trade that you have within Tradesviz, right? And the beauty of this is that it's not as straightforward as you see, right? So for example, here it says that this account is terrible at trading delta that's below. By the way, this is total delta, right? So what total delta means is that we add delta based on the signs. We assign a sign to the delta, meaning plus or minus, depending on the side of the option, right? So if it's a sell option, it's going to be, let's say the delta of the option is minus 0.5, it's going to be minus 0.5. It's a buy option, it's going to be 0.5, right? So or vice versa, right? And depends on the strategy that you trade, right? So we are looking at the delta of the trade and not the delta of a single execution, right? So the main reason why we are thinking of correlating delta or any other parameters with the P&L first is because you get an insight of how you are trading at a glance, right? So first thing, if I just overlay a simple volume profile on top of the chart, we can immediately see that there are two hills over here. There are two outliers over here, right? And this alone tells me that I'm doing something wrong with the extremes of deltas, right? The trades that have either very high negative delta or very high positive delta, right? And I seem to be making profit on the middle range, right? So I don't want to trade when there is high volatility, right? That could be one particular insight that you derive, but that could not always be true. Right? And what you want to do ideally is you want to explore the trade, right? You want to explore the chart and find out what's happening within each bar. That's the beauty of Tradesviz, is that you can explore every single data point and find out exactly what is under the data point. Right? Here it says that trades that have the total delta of 0 to 0.25 have made a profit of $746. Right? So these are all the trades. Let's take this very simple SPY trade. So it's a simple scale in, scale out trade. There isn't any fancy options strategy. It's the same strike, it's the same expiry date. So we're just looking at whether we can optimize this or not, right? So the entries and exits are also plotted for you in the chart, right? So we need to think about not just choosing the trades based off our deltas or weeks. We also need to look at how our decisions, right, how our entries or exits affect the result of the trade. For example, for every single execution, again, Tradesviz is the only platform that does this. You have the entire options details here. So for every single execution, you have the IV, delta, theta, rho, gamma, and of course the DT is available for the trade itself. Right? So with this itself, you can choose. For example, if you're trading weeklies, or if you're trading monthlies, or whatever, you'll get an idea. Right? So you have an idea of, okay, I should be looking at delta around this particular range. Right? If I'm looking at delta of, in the extremes, right, what should I do? Right? What did I do wrong here? I lost around $500 over here. And what did I do wrong? So we have 3 trades over here. All of them have a reasonable amount of volume, right? So there was this AMD trade which didn't go too well. This Peloton trade that also didn't go too well, right? So we can look into this. We can find what happened here, right? Why didn't we make money off of this trade? So did something happen? Did we the move that we expect not happen, or did we get on the opposite side of the move? Right? What exactly happened here, right? So the position is sell of a call, right? Meaning we want the stock to go down, right? So, and that didn't exactly happen over here, right? It was chop, 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 and then we had to exit over here, right? So what could have happened here is that even though we were short calls, right? Even though you can probably say that, hey, we could have earned the theta, right? So that didn't happen over here. Now, why didn't that happen? You can look at the IV, right? So it's not just one metric always. It's not just just look at delta and we'll go with that. That's not always the case, right? So what we want to look at is we want to look at multiple statistics at once, right? So for example, you can look at theta, right? So it seems that negative theta, I'm not doing so well, right? So at positive theta, I can't really say that I'm doing so well in the middle range, but there seems to be a little bit of profit on the extreme ranges, right? So does this mean that I need to shift my trades over to this side, or does this mean that I need to focus on improving the trades this side? That completely depends on the type of trader you are, the type of strategies that you're using, right? The way that you interpret these statistics and insights is completely dependent on what sort of strategies you use, right? And the thing is that you have a way to visualize this. Just think about this. You have hundreds of options trades, right? That means you have, probably a couple of hundreds of executions by a trade. What I mean is, if you buy and if you sell, that's probably a trade, right? And I'm looking at months worth of options trading, an active options trader would have hundreds of trades, hundreds of executions. I mean, right? And there's so much data to be analyzed from that, right? And it's not just a matter of I'm going to follow a theta wheel or some kind of a selling strategy or whatever. It doesn't matter what strategy you follow, right? But the analysis and the insights are still going to help you, right? So that's the main reason why we need to look at things like this. For example, the PNL versus DT is a very popular chart in Tradesviz, right? Because a lot of people can easily understand it, right? But here we are seeing mixed results over here, right? So there's profit, there's loss, there's profit, there's loss. Like, what's happening here, right? So that's why you don't exactly look at one particular chart. Instead, you look at multiple charts and derive analysis from it, right? And obviously, there's a lot of trades on 0 to 1 DT, and that does not, that doesn't seem to be working so well, right? It seems we have netted a positive profit. Yet if most of our trades are in the 0 to 1 DT, meaning I'm pretty much just gambling away options, it might be better if I just focus on buying and holding options. Right? The next question naturally becomes, what should I buy? Or what should I sell? What should be my next entry? What should I be looking at? Right? Because options is such a complicated task. I mean, options trading is such a complicated task to do. It's not. Stock trading is pretty straightforward. I'm not saying it's much harder than stock trading. Any sort of trading is hard, but options trading without knowledge of what's happening is both difficult and dangerous, because it's a margin product, right? That's especially why you need to have so much knowledge if you want to improve yourself in options trading, right? And the same applies here in terms of statistics for win rate, right? And this naturally converts to volume, trade count and metrics, right? So risk reward ratio versus delta, right? Who even provides this at the moment? We have no idea at the moment. Based on my knowledge, nobody even provides a fraction of the analysis that we provide, right? And this has helped thousands of options traders. They are looking at data and they're looking at analysis that they've never ever looked at, right? So you too might be missing a very, very, very simple insight that can drastically help your strategy, that can drastically help your win rate, that can, greatly magnify your PNL that you're looking for, right? So, but the thing is that this needs a little bit of effort from the user side to sit and learn what's happening, right? So, for example, this is a really good risk reward ratio trade, and it's a very small trade, right? In the other two examples we saw quite sort of big PNLs, right? 200 minus 400 plus 300 and so on, right? And what's happening over here, right? So should I be optimizing for my hit ratio? Should I be optimizing for my win rate? Should I be optimizing for my a low volatility, low risk sort of strategy or sort of trading? And what should I do? Right? This can help you answer all of the questions. Right? We only explored a couple of trades over here. This account barely has probably 20, 30, 40 trades. That's it. Imagine if you have been trading for a while now. Imagine if you've been following this journal for a while now, from your day one. The amount of insights that you have, the amount of notes that you have taken, the amount of tags that you would have had in a journal, that alone would make your journal the most important and the most valuable resource that you have for options trading, right? And what we're going to do next is going to make all of this even more valuable. So we discussed about bringing in alternative data or market data into the analysis. Now, where does that come from? So we'll be looking at options flow. And what is options flow? It's a very hot topic. It's a very commonly discussed topic among options traders, stock traders in the last few years, right? It used to be a sort of data that was only available to institutions, but now it's available to retailers also, right? And it's getting more and more accessible. Now, guess what? Tradesviz has options flow data, right? And first, what is options flow data? Right? Options flow basically means you have access to every single option trade that happens on the US market, right? And that means millions and millions of trades that happens every single day for every single optionable ticker, right? That's information overload. But what happens in options flow is that there is a step, and that is a filtering step. Meaning you look at all of these options, you look at millions of data points, and you take the ones that matter the most, right? And how do you decide what matters the most, right? There are a couple of attributes and tagged data that come in from the OPRA, Options Pricing Authority, wherein you can kind of group the options trades in such a way that you can say, okay, this trade was executed by a single entity across multiple exchanges because they really need this this particular option or this particular contract at this particular time. Right? That's called a sweep trade. Now it could be that a single trader or a single entity might have bought $10 million worth of Apple calls. That's a huge trade in a single trade, in a single transaction, right? Now, what does that mean? That's a block trade, right? And you also have splits. Split is similar to sweep, wherein in a split your order is sent to multiple exchanges, right? And whatever best pricing is available, a lot of odd lots that are available are all grouped together, and you get that, right? And that also signifies the urgency that the entity or the trader has in terms of acquiring that contract at the moment, right? So what a lot of people do is they look at this options flow as as a live data. You have different sort of different symbols, different tickers coming in again and again and again. When you see a couple of high above ask or below bid options alerts, you immediately enter a contract that's similar to what you see, and that's what most people do, right? So they say that bullish flow is coming, they say bearish flow is coming. What does that mean? People are selling calls, people are buying puts, whatever, right? The way that you interpret this is where there are a lot of issues here, right? The most popular form of usage of options flow data is by utilizing the live flow and to place trades that are pretty much copy of what's happening in the flow, right? So that's piggybacking off of the institutions or the big guys who are trading, right? And to our knowledge, that doesn't work. It might work if you are lucky 1 or 2 times. Third time it might not work, right? And from what I've seen personally over the last couple of years, 99% of the alerts or whatever you see on the net, they're all cherry picked, right? It's plain and simple, right? You can go and trade options purely based off of options flow. You will probably end up blowing up your account. The reason is because, as I said before, you can trade if you understand what's happening. If you do not understand what's happening, that's very dangerous, right? Going in with incomplete data is extremely dangerous because you don't have the complete understanding of what's happening. So for example, a block might be tied to a hedge in SPY or something, right? You don't know that. Nobody knows that, right? So there are a lot of caveats in terms of working with options flow data. That's one of the reasons why we don't provide live options flow data. What we do provide is a very detailed analysis and dashboard of options flow data of every single ticker in the US. We'll get more into that in the coming slides, right? So why do you need this data? You already have your trading data in Tradesviz. That's what we are specialized in. That's what we are good at, right? Analyzing your data. Now, what if you combine market data? Right? We've already done that. We've already explored that in a couple of previous videos where we explored how your trading changes based off of things like volatility in the market, based off of SPY's ATR or RSI or things like that, right? Now, how do you use this options flow data to improve your trading, right? Now, this is not going to be as integrated as the previous ideas that we've discussed, but this is going to be a very useful tool for you if you're using, if you're an options or a stock trader, right? So your trading data is going to give you your strengths, your weaknesses, what sort of stocks you're good at, what sort of options you're good at. If you're trading only SPY, that's fine. If you're trading only Apple, that's fine. If you're trading only the FANG companies, that's fine. If you're trading only weeklies, that's totally fine, right? The market data is going to give you valuable insights on what are the setups that might be suitable for you, right? So you can think of this as a combination, right? So you know what you're good at, and the market has thousands of opportunities every single day, and you need to find them. The finding part is difficult. The combination, the data that we have and the filtering that we do makes the finding part easy. And the combination of these two concepts makes you a better trader. Right, so how can options data help you? Right? Let's split this into two parts. First, before that, I'm going to show you a quick demo of what we are offering in terms of options data. Right? So to go to options analysis dashboard, you click on the hamburger icon, you click on options flow analysis, right? That will take you to a tab where it will show you a list of a huge table with a list of every single large important trade that happened that day, right? So this will be updated few hours after the end of day every day, and you have a lot of filters over here. You can filter pretty much anything that is related to options. That means what type of flow it is, what type of whether it is above bid, below ask, ITM, in the money, out of the money, when was this traded, what was the implied volatility, what is the best open interest, strikes, price, what sort of sectors it belongs to, and so on and so forth, right? And we are so for example, this we are looking at June 10th data, right? So all of this is in Eastern time. So right now we've sorted by total premium, right? So, and we're looking at Microsoft at the top, which says that somebody bought a June 17th 280 strike put for around $17 million. That's a total of 6,700 contracts, right? That's a pretty big trade, right? So this is an example of a block trade. So this was executed in a single transaction, right? And then you have a sweep trade, right? Tradesviz, by the way, is the only platform that shows you exactly what trades are within a sweep trade, right? So it will tell you exactly what side each transaction is, right? What is the premium paid, what is the quantity paid, right? So a sweep trade basically means it translates to get me as many contracts as possible as soon as possible, right? That's what a sweep trade means, right? Split means do the same but across exchanges. Sweep means within the same exchange. That's the difference, right? And to be honest, a lot of people don't even know the difference or understand the difference between what is the urgency, or what are the flags that Opera has, and all of that, right? Tradesviz is the only one that shows you all of the information, right? You have so many different columns over here. For example, how many exchanges was this traded on, right? What are the trade flags, what is the trade IV, and so on and so forth, right? So you have an idea of what's happening in the market just by looking at this chart every single day. Before you trade, just take a look at this, right? You know everything. You have a whole snapshot of what's happening in the market, right? For example, you don't want to look at SPY, SPX, Qs. There'll be a lot of trades in these symbols. So we've decided to exclude them. And another example is we've decided to exclude ETN and ETFs, right? We're only interested in stocks, right? So if you're not, then you cannot exclude it, right? So again, completely dependent on you, right? We provide the most easy to use platform where millions of trades, millions of data points are at your fingertips at any time, accessible for you to trade, right? And the next tab is the market summary tab, right? So what this is going to tell you is it's going to sum up a lot of information, summarize a lot of information, and tell you what's going on at a bigger picture, from an eagle's eye view, right? What's going on? What are the sectors that I need to be looking at? Auto manufacturers. You can pretty much guess, what's trading at auto manufacturers. It's probably Tesla, right? And you have a software application, you have retail, you have gas, you have oil, you have biotech, you have so many different sectors, right? And this shows you the difference, right? Inflow, outflow, right? So all of this data can give you a sample, can give you a snapshot, right, of what's happening in the market at that particular point, right? Or what has happened in the market for the in the last one day, right? And you can change the range over here also. That's also totally possible. And the goal is to get an idea, get a glimpse of what you should be looking at, what you can expect, what you shouldn't expect, right? How you should change your risk statistics, what you can, what sort of strategies you can follow, and things like that, right? Going into the market with this data, armed with this data, is that there is no downside to this, right? This literally takes you maybe a couple of minutes to scan through this. That's it, and you have the entire knowledge of what transpired yesterday in the entire US market, right, within a couple of minutes. And so, for example, here I can see that few of the largest trades were Microsoft, PayPal, Netflix, and so on, right? PayPal is kind of interesting, right? Maybe I'll go to the options flow table. I'll look at, I'll see if I can find any PayPal trades. I can see the PayPal trade over here, right? It's a block trade. So it's just one single execution over here. You're not going to want to see anything over here, because whatever you're going to see over here is same as over here. It's single execution, right? Now I want to explore PayPal. Now I want to explore PayPal and see if there are any opportunities for me to take a trade in this, right? So what I do is I click on the target icon, and that will take me to a page which will show me the flow of what has happened that day, right? And right now I'm displaying last 10 days. So I'll just reduce it to last 2 days so that you can get a better idea, right? What you see over here, right? The stock picks one direction, whereas the flow picks another direction, right? This is a common phenomenon that happens in a lot of stocks, right? So this is a divergence, right? There's a lot of misconception on what a divergence is, and how you can play that, right? Typically, what people think is when a stock is going down and when the flow is going up, it means the stock is going to go up. No, that's not how it works, right? That's not that. There are no leading indicators, right? There is no free lunch in stocks. Just please get that in your mind. You will be saving a lot of money, trust me. And what you want to do is you want to make sure you look at what's happening in terms of what are the biggest option plays that happened on that day. Were there anything unusual, right? For example, if there's a sweep of a very low price and very low strike, or the price at kind of 85, 86, 3,500 is a lot of quantity, right? And it's a sweep trade, right? It's a buy call for $1 million. Right? Do we see anything in the other direction? Do we see anything in the sell side? Right? Sell side, all of the trades are blocks, right? And we don't see huge quantities here. We saw huge quantities here, right? So what's happening here? What should we be looking at, right? So this tree map is going to give you a put sell difference, or a total sell premium, total buy premium. The way you want to visualize the data is completely up to you, right? This in the back end right now is crunching thousands of data points, hundreds of thousands of data points, right? All of that for you so that you can make sure that you are confident in your trading, right? Data-backed decisions is what is going to give you confidence in your trading, right? And that in itself is going to improve your trading psychology, right? So cumulative premium contract is going to tell you for this particular contract what is the total buy or sell premium, right? And this is going to pretty much, for example, let's say total premium for 20th Jan next year 250 put is 19 million, right? So is that split evenly? Though that's not split evenly. So sell premium has been pretty darn high, right? So sell put, so that means it's a is it a a bullish kind of thing? Because you can't be sure because it's 2023. There's a huge time gap between now and 2023, right? So you can't really rely on this piece of data. Let's look at the next one, right? It's July 15th, which is pretty near, but the strike is still pretty high, right? It's a put and it's $16 million. This seems slightly more believable because the expiry is near, and even though the strike is pretty high, the price at the moment right now it's around $90. 200 strike is pretty darn high, so you can still say it's kind of bearish, right? Because it's a buy put. Right? Now this is going to tell you most active contracts by expiry and by strike, right? 95, obviously the closest price to the current the current trading price is going to be the highest, and you can look at other outliers. For example, here look at 210. Right? We don't see 210 over here. Why? Because not a lot of trades are placed. Again, can you trust this data point? If you saw this in your options flow dashboard when you are trading live, right, would you have taken this trade? That's a question you have to answer. So that's why we say that options flow is not always the holy grail of options trading, which many people thought it was. Right? And this is a very interesting way to visualize what's happening. Right? So we are looking at 20 different strikes and 20 different expiries of the last trading day, and we can kind of see that a lot of premium was traded at few different dates, right? So we have a lot of activity in the 2023 range, right? So let me just do the same for this also. This is the volume heat map, this is the premium heat map, right? They don't always correlate, right? So that's an important point to note. If you see a lot of a lot of dark points over here, not a lot of dark points over here, and then that's something that you need to explore, right? That's a aberration, that's an outlier you need to explore. Right? What about the buy sell difference? Aha, now there's something new, right? So 2022 0715 210 strike, $16 million of premium, right? So there's something going on over there, right? So should we explore it? Why not? Let's try that. So what I'm going to do right now, this is going to tell you the accumulation of the particular strike that we're looking at, all the trades that I've made for this particular contract over the last 20 or 30 days, right? So 210 strike, and we're going to enter 2022 07 15, and we're going to look at both call and put one by one. So we don't see anything in call, put. Okay, so we do see something over here, right? But it was only recently added. We don't see a lot of accumulation going on over here, rather it was only recently added, right? So is this something that is interesting? Should we be looking at this particular stock? I don't see a reason for it, right? So there's a lot of put sale premium on 610, right? So overall it seems that there is a bearish sentiment, right? But what strikes are you going to pick? What expiries are you going to pick? That is going to be the question that you need to answer by yourself, right? So it could depend on your account size, it could depend on whether you have a stock for a hedge, it could depend on what positions you have, and so on and so forth, right? So this is how the dashboard analysis works, and this is just one single example that we went through in a couple of minutes. You can do this for any symbol that you want, including all the top ones. You can search for a symbol and so on and so forth, right? So the next big feature that can help you is the options scan feature, right? So this is going to show you everything, and then you need to explore it and then find more about it. If you have a watch list already, this is extremely valuable to you, right? This is indispensable. Right, so it can tell you exactly what's going to, what has transpired, and that data is very, very, very helpful for you when trading. Right? Now, what if you don't have a watch list? Right? What if you are like, I don't know what's happening. I'm not sure. I need a list of tickers to look at. Right? That's where the option screening comes in from. Right? So this uses the same data. Right? This uses the same set of filters that you have over here. You can completely customize this, and for example, we put in a scan date of 607, right? and we're going to try screening for different conditions, right? The way that we've constructed this is pretty intuitive, right? So what this is going to do is this is going to scan for the symbols that have the most premium in calls bought in the last 2 days or in the with the continuous increase in the last 4 days, right? And all of this is editable, by the way, right? I can look at the most trades in blocks sold in the last 2 days, right? That's going to give me a list of symbols, right? So all of this data is very valuable. For example, we were just talking about divergence, and you see another one over here. By the way, none of this is like pre-planned. I'm not looking at specific symbols. I'm not cherry picking anything. I'm just going through examples randomly, right? Because that's the best way to explore any of this, right? And the same over here. And you can even search for divergences. So this alone is going to give you an example of how to create a watch list. Not just this particular stock, not just this particular scan, but multiple scans over here with multiple parameters can give you a really good idea of what to look for in terms of options, right? And here you can look at the trends of what's happening, and also the stock of the exact flow and the underlying stock's price over here, right? So all of this is in a single dashboard, right? For example, here we have generated multiple stocks over here, right? For example, let's look at what's happening in PanW. This, for example, we ran a scan from on 0607, so June 7th, right? So we see a divergence over here, and the general notion when we see something like this is that the stock is going to go down because this is a leading indicator, right? Is that true or not? I would argue that it's not always true, but this could be something that's on your watch list, right? You could have shorted this as a stock, or you could have shorted this from a options perspective. Now we can look at what happened after that particular date. We can just click on the target icon, and that'll take you exactly to what exactly happened. For example, let's look at the last 5 days, right? And lo and behold, the stock has gone down. And it has gone down from 522 to 494. Even if we had a single share, that's $20, right? If you had options, right, that's probably a lot of money, right? But this does not work all the time. That's the main issue. That's the main drawback. That the more data that you have, right, the more informed you are. But if you just look at this particular chart and think that, oh, it's divergence, I'm going to go short, that's not going to work. So how do you combine this, right? During an open trade, you can use the Tradesviz unified view to show all the info that you need, right? Like it shows you the market data, trade stable data, risk info, and so on. Let me just quickly show you what the overview looks like. This is the unified view. So for example, right now we have all the closed trades closed, and the main reason that we are looking at unified view is because it shows you the stock that you're currently in, whether you've hit your profit loss or stop target, and so on and so forth. And it also shows you the most recent and most relevant options flow right over here, right? So if you have like 5 or 6 open positions, right, you're going to be able to see everything here, right? What has the stock done historically in terms of seasonality, right? And what is the stock doing? What are people trading right now, right? So is it going to be a lot of buys, it's going to be a lot of sells, what's going on, right? So this can help you make decisions in real time and help you manage your positions, right? So that's the main idea here. And of course, after close, or once you close the trade, once you're looking for trading, that's what we just explored, the screeners, right? You have so many option screeners, so many options ideas that you can generate from within Tradesviz itself, right? So option screening is what we just explored, right? Divergences, put call ratio, increasing bullish, increasing flow in calls, increasing flow in puts, or decreasing flow in puts in the last 5 days. All of these are patterns that we want users to find out. All of these are patterns that can help you make a more a data-driven decision of what is going to happen, what you need to do, and so on, right? And all of this Tradesviz can help you with, right? Because once you have this much info behind your trade, you don't need to be scared of what's going to happen, right? When you enter a trade, you need to know what's going to what you're going to do if the trade goes wrong, right? the main disadvantage, or I wouldn't say disadvantage, the main problem that we see with a lot of options traders is that they enter a trade without knowing anything. Right? They enter a trade because they saw a signal, they saw they are working with incomplete data. Right? Now they have no plan set in place. They have no backup of what's happened. They have no strategy behind their decision. Right? There's no logic behind the decision. Right? So don't rely on YOLOs. Understand what's happening. Even though it's hard, you will get used to it. Right? That's our promise. Right? So as we discussed, options flow, there's no free lunch. Right? It's not a holy grail. It's what you see mostly on Twitter and most other websites are just cherry-picked examples of people winning one in 10 trades. Right? The main reason you might need to you might want to look at options flow is because it can augment your decision making process. That's it. That's what options flow can do. It cannot trade for you, which is what a lot of people would like options flow to do. Right? Analyze the data from as many perspectives as you can. Right? Learn what's happening. Try to understand how the market, the ebbs and the flows of the market. That will make you a far better trader in the long run than any other tool can. Right? You don't need to be dependent on an external tool like options flow or anything like that. So one of the reasons why we suggest Tradesviz to a lot of options traders is because options, Tradesviz focuses a lot on options trading, as we've shown, options dashboard, options flow analysis, and advanced charting, Greeks and delta analysis, and so on. No other platform in the world has any of this. No other platform, right? Tradesviz is the only trading journal with in-depth options analysis and screening. Right? So it's an all-in-one bundle that you can use to improve your trading, not only to improve your trading from a historical perspective, but also to find trades and find those hidden gems based on the advanced dashboards that we have. Right? And Tradesviz has so many other advantages also. Right? You don't need to pay $100 per month for an option screener, another $100 per month for an expensive a journaling or analysis tool that does barely 10% of what Tradesviz does. Right? Tradesviz is extremely cheap, extremely affordable for anyone, any options trader, any trader at all. Right? You don't need to be an options trader at all to even use options flow analysis. Stock traders can also benefit from it. Right? So in this presentation, we've explored how we can use advanced features such as Greek analysis and options flow in Tradesviz. Right? Options trading, as I keep repeating, is extremely difficult. Right? Because there are so many variables and nobody looks at any of them. Right? You can win, you can gain a lot of money real fast, but you can also burn a lot of money real fast. Right? You need to keep that in mind when trading options. While most analysis, most journals, most analysis platforms ignore all of this data, we don't. Right? We pretty much ask you to explore all of this. Right? We have so many users coming in with new questions every single day, so we are always improving our feature set. Right? And again, Tradesviz is the only journal with built-in options flow features, which can not only help you find new trades, but also learn what's happening in the market. Right? So this is truly an all-in-one market research tool that can help every single trader. Thank you so much for listening to this presentation. If you are still with us in this video, you can use the coupon Tech Wizards to get 30% off of any plan on Tradesviz, which means you get around 50% off if you pick a annual plan. All the plans come with a first time 7-day free trial, and you can sign up on Tradesviz.com. For any questions, any queries, you can always contact us via email or the live chat that's at the bottom of the page. So I hope this presentation has been helpful for you. I hope this has taught you some new perspectives on how to trade options and how to succeed in